A lot of new traders are focusing on the wrong type of capital. It's easy to assume at the beginning what you need is a lot of money, financial capital, but really when you go to war in the financial markets, you find out very quickly it's more about the mental capital up here. In today's video, I'm going to share with you how I evaluate my personal mental capital and how I decide whether I'll be trading today, how much size, how I feel, and if I'm ready to take advantage of the market. Because it isn't really about what the market does. What's more important is how you navigate the market and how you take advantage. And if you're not prepared and don't know that, it leads to disastrous results. Let's dive into this video. I'll illustrate and show you how I do my mental capital meter. We'll do a calculation together for today, and I'll show it to you in action. Let's dive right in. So let's get started. Let's start out with a few of the criteria first and foremost that I gauge myself on. I have 10 different things that I look for, and each of them get a score between 0 to 1. So it's a fractional basis, and at the end, the tally is a grand total of 10 points for each one of the criteria I evaluate myself on. And you'd be surprised to find out that this doesn't start at 9:29 in the morning, 1 minute before the opening bell. Today starts the night prior. And it's extremely important to realize that as a trader. What we do is a high performance game, and you need to prepare the night before to be fresh and ready to go the next morning. So let's see how I start out. I have these 3 categories set up as the night before, the morning of, and right before my first trade. So these 10 criteria split into those 3 categories. Let's review the first one, the night before. The question here that I do is, and I ask myself, have I reviewed my trades? And have I gone through them, taken away the learnings I needed to? And have I really looked at what I've done? A lot of traders trade in the day and assume as soon as they're done, the work is over. But what's important for you is to be reviewing your process and progress to be able to identify key opportunities for improvement and also challenges to work on and successes to continue doing. Review is extremely important, especially at the beginning as a new trader. So I first start out by looking at the night before on the next morning. So today I'd be looking for the prior night and ask myself, did I review my trades? Did I need to? How well did I do reviewing it? Number 2 is, have I digested the results? What this means is that, hey, you've had either a profit or a loss the prior day, but have you accepted those results? Because if you slept the whole night on your performance and next morning you're saying to yourself, hey, I'm going to make up those losses, you automatically fail here and put a 0. So the result digested means, am I okay? Am I at peace? Have I absorbed this emotionally? And am I ready to trade today, putting the past behind me? Every new day is a new opportunity in day trading. The third part of my night before work is, did I take away key aspects of learning? Do I have any takeaways? What did I learn from the prior day? After 20 years in this business, I learn every single day, and that's what's required to continuously succeed. This isn't a knowledge business where once you learn the certain thing you're looking for or gather all the information, it's over. This is more of a constant development process. So what are my key takeaways yesterday? Maybe it's how I traded for the day. Maybe it's being able to recognize that I overtraded in these market conditions or that I undertraded and really resolve those things. The reason I want to do this the morning of is because I want to ask myself, am I better today as a trader than I was yesterday? And if I analyze my trades the night before, and if I've written down my takeaways, this morning I start out the session more confident, knowing that I'm a better trader than I was the prior day, and I'm ready to take advantage of these constantly changing markets. This one is key. The last thing I look for, which might surprise you, is, did I eat well? Was it a night where I ordered 2 burritos and ate them by myself? Or was it one of those nights where I really fueled my body with the right type of food? Did I eat a salad? Did I prepare my food? Is it optimal fuel? Because at the end of the day, this is what powers your performance machine, which is your trading psychology. In order to perform at high levels, you got to feed yourself nutritious food. And that's why this makes it on my night before checklist and my mental capital assessment for this morning from yesterday. And that concludes the list of what I look to take away from the prior day. Now, on the morning of the current trading session, the next category that I look for is here, morning of, on the right side. Here's what I'm asking myself in the morning before I start trading. Number 1, did I sleep well? If I didn't get enough sleep, there's a lot of studies showing that people who undersleep perform like people who are intoxicated. And so if you're not sleeping well, if you were disturbed, if your child woke you up, if you just couldn't sleep, or got to bed really late, the next morning you're going to pay for it by having lower mental capital. And maybe even if your list doesn't provide enough positive aspects of this checklist, you may not even get to trade. That's why the night before, it's so important to get sleep, because last night you could be ruining your tomorrow or today in this example. So did I sleep well? This is a very important one for me. How do I feel? And I'm not looking to rationalize and think about what happened since last night till this morning to make me feel a certain way. I'm looking for that deep down subconscious answer that comes immediately at the snap of a finger. How do I feel? If you stop in your busy day and just ask yourself, this morning, how do I really feel? An answer will pop up, and that's the one that you're interested in and talking about. In the morning, I also ask myself this question: am I still holding on to the result? Now, you might notice that the holding on to the results and result digested are the same thing, but it's important that you ask the same question after you've had a full night of sleep. The night before, you may not have digested the result, but the next morning you may have. So this is the same checkpoint worded differently to keep me ready for taking advantage of market opportunities. And the last one, and this is very, very crucial and critical and a big decider of my mental capital, is am I opportunity focused or am I fear paralyzed? Now this again is the type of question you're not looking to logically answer. Your logical mind is just 0.004% of the processing. The subconscious is 99.996%. So then you're going to be asking your subconscious this very same question. Am I opportunity focused today, or am I fear paralyzed or worrying too much about the fear of losing money? If you're starting the day with a subconscious belief that what you're doing is risky, and if you're afraid of that risk, it's best to not trade. If you find that happening every single morning as you approach the market, it's a better investment to work on your trading psychology and personal development than it is to try to go out there and grind it out in the market with a weak mindset. This is a key that you need to strengthen your mindset, strengthen your trading psychology, and put the trading strategy and markets to the back burner for the time being. The best investment in trading is in your psychology. Oftentimes, amazing traders will say this business is 100% psychology. So the question I have for you is, when's the last time you invested in yourself in that respect? We have a full trading psychology course based on advanced neuro-linguistic programming techniques at TRADEPRO Academy to help you strengthen your mindset and believe that you're a winner before you even approach the market. This is so key for me. And even though I've been doing this trading thing for so long, approaching 20 years plus, I still wake up in some mornings where I ask myself, what the heck am I doing? Why am I out there risking so much capital? Why don't I get a full-time job? These same dilemmas that you're faced with never really disappear. There's always that voice in the back of your head trying to protect you. But it's important to realize the mornings where that voice is louder than others and adjust your trading plan and adjust your mental capital. Because if you're not measuring your mental capital, you're not focusing on it, and that could be what's ruining your performance. Your strategy might be great. The way you draw your levels might be fantastic, but your mental capital might be low. So let's have a look at the last category here, the third one. This is before my first trade, FT standing for first trade. I only ask myself two things. If my night before was fantastic, if the morning of everything checks out, this is my last chance to identify any areas that should prevent me from trading and risking capital or deciding how big I should trade. The first question is this. Before I put my first trade on for the day, I ask myself, when I review my trades, because that's what you do the night before, when I review this trade at 4 p.m., irregardless of whether it's a winner or a loser, will I be proud of it? Very simple question. Because a lot of times traders start out with a losing trade and start chasing for the remainder of the day, and the day is lost before it's even begun. It's important to catch the first one at a high probability, low risk area that's part of your trading plan. It doesn't matter if it's a winner or a loser, because we never know before we take the trade. But what matters is where you're placing this trade on the chart, the size you're taking. Are you going to be proud of this at 4 p.m. regardless of how it turns out? If you could start strong, you're more likely to hold that momentum throughout the trading day. The last question I ask myself, and once again, this is a repeat at a different stage of the cycle, is how do I feel? And this is the subconscious answer, once again, I'm looking for. Now that I've sat down, I'm ready to put risk on the table. How do I really feel? And you're looking for that snap of the fingers response from your subconscious mind. So that's my mental capital meter in its entirety. Now I want to walk you through today and how I scored myself and what I allowed myself to trade. Because it was a slower market day, but I did end up trading slightly bigger than I had planned. I'll show you why. Let's take a look at this and now give myself a score for this morning. So this morning I started out. Yesterday I did review my trades sufficiently. I give myself 1 point there. Did I digest the results? I'm at the stage of my career where I own my losses and I don't really celebrate my profits too much. People who celebrate profits or are overly ecstatic shows that there wasn't really an expectancy to earn that result to begin with. You really want to make sure that you're not too excited by your profits and not too bummed out by your losses. So I digested these results. There are some days when I have results that differ significantly from what I should have done, where that becomes an issue the night before. Last night, it wasn't. I give myself 1 point for that. Do I have any takeaways? Yes, yesterday my takeaway was if I follow my strategy, the result comes. Process over profits is a simple formula to remember. My takeaway is that I trust my plan even more today than yesterday because it worked and I executed it as I should. I get 1 full point here. Did I eat well? Last night I did have a nutritious meal. It wasn't as well as I would have liked it. So here I gave this a 0.5, realizing that, hey, I have a little bit less fuel than optimal, so my performance will have to take a hit as a result. Now, let's go to the morning of this morning. I walked into the office feeling fantastic and really upbeat and full of energy. So on the morning of, did I sleep well? Absolutely. As well as any new father can with an 8-month-old. You are going to wake up in between, but I'm used to that schedule. I've adjusted to being able to do the same work with less sleep. So in context of the last couple months, yes, I slept very well. I got about 7.5 hours with only 2 wake-ups from my son. So I give myself a point there. How did I feel? Well, I already said this just a few moments ago. I said I felt great. I walked in super positive. My drive-in was great. My commute was awesome. I listened to a podcast. I couldn't score any higher than a 1 point here. Now I checked in and said, am I holding the result of yesterday? Because yesterday was a nice winning day for me with a $3,000 profit that we recapped in our YouTube videos, there isn't really much to hold to. It was a positive day, but walking in this morning, I didn't have any feelings of I need to outperform it or, oh my gosh, what a great day. I just let that result be and I separated myself from yesterday's result from today's performance. So I also scored a point here as well. And the last criteria of the morning of is, was I feeling opportunity and fear? This morning I came in feeling super opportunistic and not a shred of fear. And I gave myself a point there as well. Now we get into the first trade. The first trade of the day today was a long for me as the market was dropping. So is it a trade I would have been proud at 4 p.m.? It really wasn't, and I decided to take it anyway. So for that today, I get a big fat 0, the good old goose egg. How do I feel? I felt fantastic nonetheless, knowing that I trust my strategy, trust my process, and that I wasn't emotionally impacted. Felt strong, I felt disciplined, I felt opportunistic, and I was looking for the next trade as part of my plan. That's a great way to feel, and I gave myself a 1.0. So that's how I assess my mental capital on a daily basis. Now let's see what score I got today. One on reviewing trades, 1 on results digested, 1 on takeaways, half a point on eating well. The night before quadrant gets a grand total of a 3.5. The morning of, I slept well, I felt pretty good, I didn't really hold on to my results, I'd let it go, and I was opportunity focused. I got a full amount of 4 points on the morning of. My first trade, unfortunately, out of 2 possible points, I only get 1. So if we tally these together, we're coming in at an 8.5 out of 10 on my mental capital for the morning. I was feeling very close to as good as it could get. Now, this is why I decided to scale up my trading near the lows of the day and take a relatively larger trade, because I knew I wasn't doing it with low mental capital. I was doing it from a state of strength. I was doing it from a winning mindset, and that's what gave me the fuel to get in there and trade slightly bigger, even though it was a slower day. And now you understand why assessing your mental capital is so important, because number 1, you're aware of it, and number 2, it dictates whether you trade or not and how big you trade. Any morning where I score less than 5, I don't trade at all. I sit and watch, and this is the price I have to pay for not sleeping well the night before or not being mentally prepared for the trading day. And it's a positive thing to do because the night of, you're going to think twice before you repeat the same bad behaviors. Anything above 7, I trade my regular size according to my plan. Anything above 8, I'd scale up a little bit bigger, knowing that my mental capital is strong. So you have to really set these points for yourself. And the only way to really know what that number is for you is to try this out. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Do you find this mental capital meter a great idea and helpful to your strategy? And how do you plan to implement it? And I'll answer and engage with you in the comments. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Please remember to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notifications bell. We have great new content coming out daily. That's it for today, Trade Pros. Manage that risk, trade like a trade pro, set up your mental capital meter, and trade from a strong winning mindset, and build the confidence that you deserve to create the dreams you're after. I love you all, and I'll see you at the next video. Thank you and goodbye.